Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to our last series of today. It's Invictus Gaming Vitality Squad taking on Team EHOME in the lower bracket. Round 3, top 4 teams remaining. It's CDEC, Youth, and Vici Gaming in the winner bracket, and these two teams currently in the lower bracket. Loser of this series is knocked out. Winner goes through to the top 3. Will face the loser of those other two teams tomorrow. I'm GoDz, and joining me for this last series of today is none other than Danelie. Danelie, how's your Boxing Day been? Are you having a good time?
So I've got tons of energy for this series. I've been watching the games today too as well, and it's actually pretty late now. And I presume some of the teams are going to be hit with some fatigue, and I'm wondering how the teams are going to cope with it.
For both these teams, it's their third game of today. Both of these teams started in the lower bracket from the first round. Like iG Vitality had 2 very long games. EHOME also had some fairly long games as well, so I kind of agree with you. I feel like, even now, looking at the player camera shots from the event, it's like, okay, these guys maybe a little fatigued, maybe a little tired, and that could definitely affect how things go down in this series.
Yeah, it's brutal as well because it's a best of 3. So it's a game that's going to be putting a lot of pressure onto both teams, but they're also tired. So we'll see who comes over this fatigue. For the moment, though, it seems everything's very standard. I haven't seen too much Undying, though, so for EHOME to pick up an Undying, it's nothing out of the ordinary, but the hero is not as popular as it used to be.
Yeah, 11 used to play quite a lot of Undying in the offlane. I'm curious to see if he's going to be handling it or if they run it just as like a standard support. So this time around, IG not making perhaps a mistake you could say LGD made, which was letting Earth Spirit through the pool for Kaka. It's going to warrant a ban, possibly for the entire series, just because of how well Kaka has played the hero. But Undying's been, like, there's some games where it's like, okay, we're going to first pick Undying, he's left in the pool. Then there's other games where it's like, let's just ignore the Undying, we'd rather pick up such and such hero.
Yeah, and unfortunately for the Undying as well, you're going up against an Ancient Apparition, so your heals aren't really going to be there most of the time. So I think for EHOME, yeah, pick up Undying. But with the Ancient Apparition, his job becomes 10 times harder than it typically would be. But it's just safe picks all around, it seems, as EHOME secure themselves Gyro, so they've got their late game carry and also a little bit of early game presence with him. Night Stalker picks today, I really haven't seen the hero perform, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's been a bit mixed. Like last game for LGD, I feel like, to me, last game when LGD lost, I guess I don't want to like put too much of that on the Night Stalker. I feel like the hero served its purpose, but if the hero does its purpose and you still lose, then maybe it's like, well, should we have really picked it? But for LGD, it was like a solid pick once it came online with the Aghanim Scepter, took down a lot of the map control that EHOME had, but even so, in teamfights, the hero doesn't offer enough. Like when you go for that Ags BKB build, you're tanky, you stay alive, but if your opponents have BKBs or ways out of your silence, you're not necessarily going to be dishing out much damage or much impact in a team fight.
Exactly. He just becomes a giant ward in that case once he has an Ags.
Yeah.
So the hero is just not as useful if he can't get those spells off. So does iG Vitality want to finish up the game early if they're running this Night Stalker? I feel like if you run a Night Stalker, you sort of push into a position where you don't want to bring it too late, because the hero doesn't do that well unless you try and build him into a scaling Night Stalker, but the hero still doesn't do the job very well either.
Yeah, I think you can go late, but it's not about the Night Stalker and how he's played, but what carry you pick up, because he can be really good at protecting a safe lane farmer because of the vision he provides and the fact you can take away all your opponent's visions. It means if you get a small lead early on, they're going to get stuck in their own base, which means you're going to out-farm your opponents. So if you pick up a really good late game mid hero as well, like they haven't picked up either their mid or their carry yet, so very much if they want to go late game, they can easily draft around that right now. But I feel like they also need to be drafting heroes that don't get owned in the early game. Undying, Gyrocopter, 2 of like the best lane dominators out there. If you're picking just heroes who scale well to the late game but don't have any early game presence, you're going to get pummeled. Like that's just a bad idea.
Absolutely. And looks like we've got one of the newer heroes in the pool. It's the Oracle. Oracle's literally been the Winter Wyvern of the patch. Do you know how Winter Wyvern got introduced and suddenly everyone picks her in Captain's mode? Now it's Oracle's turn. We don't see any Winter Wyvern anymore.
It's actually, yeah, 3rd game in a row I'm casting with Oracle plus Gyrocopter as well on the same team. And so far, the Oracle Gyrocopters won 2 of them in a row. So we'll see if it's going to be a 3rd in a row. I was actually talking with Scan about it after the last game. It seems like most teams are picking Oracle for one. Like, he's really good in lane. He has a lot of lane control. But in the mid to late game, it's purely about the ultimate saving carries and using the Fate's Edict to heal up teammates. So you pop the Fate's Edict on them, then you use the Purifying Flames. So we're not seeing much of the Fate's Edict as like an offensive tool, either to disarm an enemy or to block nuke damage, which is something perhaps unexplored about the hero. But all in all, for now, all about the ultimate. The ultimate in itself just means your carry in the front lines has that extra bit of durability and that extra life in some situations. So not just an Oracle, but they then go into a Brewmaster fourth pick for EHOME. Probably going to see that in the hands of Old Chicken in the mid lane. Very much focused around the early game and having a great tempo controller.
Yeah, it might also be an anticipation for a potential Wisp pickup here for IG Vitality, because obviously picking up a Tiny so soon, you are going to be anticipating a Wisp pickup as well, and it is going to be the Tiny Wisp combo. So Tiny Wisp versus a Brewmaster. The great thing about Brewmaster is once he goes to the Primal Split, you can just throw the Wisp in the air, and then all of a sudden the incoming heal from Wisp is going to be non-existent till he actually comes back down again. So I like the way how EHOME sort of drafted around the Tiny Wisp, knowing that we see a Tiny, anticipate the Wisp, pick up a Brewmaster to sort of disrupt that Wisp from doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. It does feel like they still need some more actual catch and disable, because if you're like trying to gank someone like a Tiny, you've got nothing to cancel the IO, tether, relocate out, and even just lockdown in general is very lacking for this team outside of the Primal Split, which has got a pretty sizable cooldown and is not always entirely reliable, even in a teamfight situation. So I imagine whatever the last pick is going to be, maybe they head towards an offlaner that has that kind of lockdown utility. Something like an Earthshaker is something 11's played a lot of. Could even be a support Earthshaker, but definitely I see them picking their last pick, giving them some control, giving them a way to cancel the relocate out from the IO if possible.
Yeah, I think so as well. I would like to see them have a bit more long-range initiation in particular to help them really set up those smokes, maybe even just having to go for those sort of tree rotations, because as you said, they've got no catch. If EHOME tries to go for a rotation through the jungle, IG Vitality has ample amounts of time to just sort of walk out of there, because there's nothing that's going to be able to catch them. Yep. So, as you said, Earthshaker, yeah, I could see Earthshaker working out for EHOME. Clockwork, I think, would have been ideal, just because Clockwork and Gyrocopters together are able to really synergize. Any chances of EHOME maybe even picking up a Centaur Warrunner, a hero that teams don't really pick up anymore, but he gives them that stampede to work with?
Sure, Centaur sounds great. And the other hero that sounds great is the hero they picked last game, Kunkka. He suddenly came to mind. He's long-range initiation.
X marks the spot as well.
Yeah, X marks the spot as well. It's also a lot of damage block as well. Like, I was thinking Centaur, I was like, ooh, they really love to have the damage minification last game, which is something the Centaur can give with an Ag Scepter, but you can get out of a Kunkka as well. But they go Jakiro, they're going to go push. It does give them lockdown. So Jakiro, Ice Path you can't really use. I mean, you can use if you're just incredibly psychic to stop a tether, relocate out, but Yule Scepter is going to be like the go-to item for Jakiro. So if you can catch the IO tethering in to relocate, save someone, you can use the Yule Scepter to stop that. But more importantly, it gives EHOME a way to just 5-man, Death Ball, take towers, and not let IG Vitality get to the late game, where in some ways it seems IG have had their best success in the late games. Both their 2 games today, they got crushed early on, and then they just made some really good team fights in the mid to late game and somehow turned games around that looked entirely lost. So EHOME, I think, saying, well, let's just make sure we can end the game early, because these guys often have a bad early game.
Absolutely. I think I want to touch a little bit more as well. Oh, actually, never mind. We've got a Slark pickup here for IG Vitality. And one of the best ways to deal with the Slark is if you can either burst him down quick enough before he can cast anything, or if you can sort of stun lock him even though he's going to pop the Dark Pact. And unfortunately for them, they don't have the best heroes to keep a Slark down. So IG Vitality going for a Slark? They can get away with this hero.
It's a big if, though, because it's very much early game and push. So Slark, as much as they can't lock him down, Slark also, at the same time, cannot fight into the 5-man push of EHOME. So if EHOME are just grouping up, taking down towers, I don't feel like the Slark is the right hero to really pick into that. It's a very risky pick for that very reason. So I'm a little concerned with it, but it sticks to the IG game plan, which is draft towards the late game, have heroes that are going to scale well, and if they can get to the late game with this Slark, there's not going to be many great answers to kind of keep him in place and to provide the control they need to actually be able to kill him off.
It might not just be that though, because there's been a tiny Wisp draft pickup. Is there any chance that the tiny becomes that momentum hero, picks up an early blink and goes for kills, and then the Wisp sort of keeps tethering to the Slark?
There's a
Because then that means
chance.
that
There's a
yeah,
chance
because
you
I
go
feel
for the
like they
blink,
can.
but I don't see the tiny being played as a like he may go for a blink and play more like a tempo controller, but you still want tiny to go ags and carry. Whether you go for the blink or
Yes.
not, it's like I guess a decision you can make, but definitely you want to see ags etc. because tiny is like the split pushing machine. He's the one who can break the base. You need him to have items this game. If anything, you want him to have items more than the Slark.
So for the moment, it looks like everyone's converging down towards this bottom rune. So we are going to have a small skirmish down here. Whereas up for the top rune, it's going to be a Slark against a Jakiro. Now, normally you'd say Jakiro would get the rune, but for him to get the rune, he'd have to get Ice Path first. Unless he can body block it and grab it in time.
It's going to be a bit of a toss-up. It's just going to come down to who can
Yeah.
click it. I imagine he could go for Ice Path, but it could just come down. Yeah, who's going to click it? Who's going to click it faster? Okay, he goes Ice Path. Times it well. Jakiro and Brood both get a rune. Perfectly played by EHOME.
Yeah.
QD gets some good damage off with a pounce, knowing that Old 11 has Ice Path, which is a
Ooh.
pretty bad level 1 spell. He makes
is.
up, and that's one of the things here. Ice Path is like the worst possible spell to get at level 1 for Jakiro. You'd rather have Dual Breath or even Liquid Fire is pretty bad at level 1, but Dual Breath is kind of the ideal spell for trading hits with supports.
Offlane Jakiro as well. So, as you said, worst spell to get. And considering he's in the offlane role, he wants as much as he can to help him sustain in that lane. So just getting the Liquid Fire off onto the creeps, the extra damage on it might be able to get him that 1 or 2 CS he's looking for. And looks like the Wisp wants to play aggressive, looking to try and go for a jump onto Jakiro. But it's going to be a dual lane. Oh!
It's going to be a First Blood bottom. I was keeping an eye on that as well, and I didn't see it either. Bring out the T-Tours, guys. But First Blood happens at bottom with the Gyrocopter, and Night Stalker getting punished for now.
So all of a sudden, this offlane situation for EHOME is looking ridiculously strong. Undying and Jakiro, two very tanky heroes, and Jakiro and Undying are great at harassment.
Yep.
So this Slark is going to have a lot of trouble in this lane, and with only an AA to help him out, they're not going to have the best time in this lane. So to make up for it, they should or at least make the best of this mid lane situation with the tiny Wisp.
They're trying, but Drunken Haze means it's
trying.
not as easy as you'd like to get last hits as a Tiny. As much as Tiny has amazing base damage, basically it becomes like a 50-50 chance to get a last hit because of Drunken Haze. And until Tiny gets levels, they can't really bully Brewmaster out of the lane. The toss stun combo just doesn't quite do enough damage.
And also Brewmaster's naturally tanky as well, so it's not like you're going up against a Queen of Pain who's quite naturally squishy.
So 2-minute runes coming up. Looks like Brewmaster will secure himself top 1. He's got the bottle already. I believe, yeah, Boots coming out as well. So he's got Boots and another branch. Classic. let's just secure myself a single branch with my bottle. With my Boots, but obviously we'll be going into a magic one, so not a wasted item by any means.
No, absolutely not. And Chen looked like he wanted to go for a cute play there with the toss, but grabbing a creep instead of that Brewmaster. Arcane Rune on Kaka, picked up down bottom. Is there a chance they kill the Night Stalker here with this?
Sure, if Night Stalker messes up like he did earlier, and even if you don't kill him, just the harass out of the Arcane Rune is so much more cost effective now. It doesn't eat away as much mana as it did before, so makes this lane
And
even more of a
Purifying
nightmare.
Flames. It's a 1.5 second cooldown.
Yep.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That is actually, wow, that's ridiculous indeed. So Night Stalker at least fairly tanky, has the Stout Shield and has pretty high effective hit points. If he just wants to trade hits with Kaka, assuming Gyrocopter's far enough away that he won't get in range for a Rocket Barrage, so perhaps misplayed the lane earlier on, but since then he's been playing a bit more defensively.
Yeah, a little bit too tanky for them to try and jump on now anyway. We've got a bit of a jungle stack happening here for IG Vitality. Whisper already heading in earlier to get those stacks down for the Tiny. But Old Chicken's doing very well in this mid lane. He's had very little contest. He's doing well. This is good news for EHOME because they need the Brewmaster to come online.
Yeah, and Tiny just not getting the kind of free farm you'd hope for him in the mid lane in this IO Tiny 2v1 setup. So all 3 lanes to me for EHOME going very well. They got the first blood on the Gyrocopter, the dual lane at top is pressuring a Slark, and this is what you want to do against a Slark. Bully his laning phase. He's very weak in lane. And we're seeing it here, QD is getting very little out of this, and he can't really keep himself in this lane too well until he hits level 6. And even when he's level 6, if Undying and Jakiro just stick together, it's like you can't exactly fight them all too well anyways. They are just giving him solo XP to get that fast at level 6, which I think is the right idea for IG Vitality, but he needs farm this game to be effective.
Yeah, he might have to take some of the jungle stacks off of the Tiny Wisp as well. Unfortunately, Tiny in the mid lane being chased down by Alt Chicken, dropping pretty low. Shouldn't die there, but I actually think they're going to have to bring the Slark in with the Tiny Wisp when they clear the jungle, just to give him some of that CS and EXP to help out the Slark a little bit, considering the laning phase that he's gotten.
Yeah, it kind of depends what they want to prioritize. Maybe they'll say the Tiny Blink is our #1 priority because that's our way back into the game, getting kills with a Tiny Blink. And if that's the case, then it's going to be like, well, Slark, you're just going to have to continue to struggle. You'll get your catch-up farm when Tiny can create space with a Blink Dagger. Alternatively, they say, okay, let's give some farm to the Slark and he can get a fast Shadow Blade, and then he can be the one creating space and controlling the tempo of the game. Either way, it's going to be a long time before IG have a hero that can be a tempo controller. And unfortunately for them, they actually rotated Io bottom earlier and didn't even find the kill on the Oracle, who TP'd out, so nothing seems to be going the way of IG here in the early game.
Yeah, hopefully it does turn around for them, because if the game keeps going like this, you've got to be worrying if you're IG. Because they don't have any heroes that are super strong after they hit level 6. They don't have a Clockwork that can just rotate and go for a hook shot and set up for a gank, or they need levels and they need items, and they're not quite getting them.
Io's just going to jungle. That's an interesting play. So it's not leaving it for the Tiny. I guess I mean, you talked about level 6. They don't have a core hero who does, but I guess Io relocate pretty good once he hits level 6 as far as finding some kills, but there's not any super easy relocate targets, and they haven't got the best as far as setup goes. Nightstalker can run in with a Void, I suppose.
I think at this, I would say if they could at least commit 4 or 5 heroes into killing Lanham as well as 11 here on the Jakiro. Because they're doing very well. If you can shut them down, at least get some kills, and also get a little bit of gold going in the way of IG. Because you can go down bottom, but there's not many heroes down there. You want to try and go to the lane with as much action as possible. And I think having the Slark also being there to get an assist gold, the assist gold would help as well. But it seems that EHOME wants to put the aggression in this top lanes. They also rotate in the Oracle to come in.
Yep, they're ready to start a fight up here. They want to kill Slark before he hits level 6 most likely, and there's no Dire Ward to scout this one out just yet. The Dire side unaware of this Oracle rotation, although they will see him soon. Brewmaster also comes up. He's got a DD, and this is going to be a fast tier 1 tower. Old Chicken will find the pull and secure that for himself, and with 3 points in Liquid Fire, if they really want it, they could probably get a tier 2 tower right now. They've got Brewmaster split, Liquid Fire level 3. It's going to take them some time just because the damage output, even with the Liquid Fire, is still somewhat slow to bring down buildings, but it's definitely a possibility for them if they want to stick around this top lane using the Brewmaster. It's just going to give IG a lot of room in the mid lane for Tiny to get farm, in the off lane. Speaking of off lane, Io in a lot of trouble. Goes down to a Gyrocopter, call down Rocket Barrage, and Nightstalker trying to fight this Gyrocopter. Not sure that's going to work too well from him. Level 4 Rocket Barrage is there. He gets the kill. Nightstalker, he was like half a second away from a Void, it looks like. He was banking on the cooldown coming up before he died, and he was not successful. That looked really bad for Nightstalker, like he just fed there, but it was like a millisecond away from being back up with the Nightstalker Void.
That was so unfortunate. Oh dear. They won't commit to the top T2 though, as you said. So I think they could have if they really wanted to get that huge injection of gold, but it seems that EHOME, they've got other plans.
Yeah.
The Gyrocopter to get the double kill though, that's ridiculous. That shouldn't happen, but as you said, it's a misplay. They just didn't go their way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's how the game's going. IG is not having anything working in their favor. Are they getting close to any major items, or at least any major levels? Doesn't seem like it.
They're really not. The supports are both level 4, so there's no relocate anytime soon. Slark, I mean, he's level 6, but he can't just suddenly fight because he's level 6. Nightstalker, he's doing what he did last game we saw IG Vitality play, which is going to be go super greedy and just pick up this Iron Talon, probably build into a Midas and just play for the late game.
Oh, Wisp.
Can they get a second? Probably not with the Avalanche Toss combo. And actually,
Slark's coming in.
That's not a fight he can win. And now they can take the Dire jungle. You stack up this Dire jungle like, oh, Tiny can get a little bit of farm to pick up some items here, but it's now being stolen. With the Tombstone down, IG are going to initiate in this one, but suddenly they're going to see this Tombstone and maybe second guess it. They get the initial kill onto Undying. The Purge coming out onto Tiny will slow him down, and it looks like Tiny's going to be the target here. He's being healed back up by the Io. They've got to get the Cyclone out onto the Io, it feels like. And Cyclone instead used initially on the Night Stalker, and EHOME have lost 2, Undying as well as Jakiro. Brewmaster in trouble now as well. Okay, IG. They turned things around just by superior numbers. That was like a 5v3/5v4 scenario. Gyrocopter not in a position where he could rotate in. IG, find the fight they need.
3 kills. That was 2k gold swing because of those 3 kills as well. Yeah. So for EHOME to make that big of a mess this early on, all of a sudden brings IG back into the fold. And that's horrible.
CDEC.Y has 74 CS. Holy cow, that's like, I don't know how many CS he's missed, but it's probably under 5. That is insane. 5. He is massive right now, and looking at the net worth, he's miles ahead of anyone. He's got a Clarity Salve coming out, so he wants to make sure he has mana to actually rotate to other lanes, which was the problem he had there. He used his cooldown to get a kill at bottom lane, which meant he couldn't really swing towards that top lane.
He's going to get a Sanj and Yasha so early. He's already got the Yasha, and he's starting to build up the Sanj as well. So this Gyro is ridiculously farmed, ridiculously over-leveled, ridiculously over-equipped.
Oh, Io.
He's not invincible. Oh, this is the second time Io dies.
He's got nothing to tether to. Tether soon. And good news for Gyro. He's still got his Clarity up. He's still regenning mana. He gets fed a mango. Good guy, Lanham. That's a good captain. Yeah, he's commended.
Promoted. Commended. If you just commend your allies with mangoes.
Yeah. Well, when Gyrocopter's having this good a start, and he's almost double the net worth of Tiny right now. That's a crazy thought, considering we're only 10 minutes in the game, at any stage of the game. But Tiny, it looks like, will be rushing a Blink, which I think is the right move, just because they need some way to get pickoffs. For IG, they don't want big team fights, but they need to be able to find pickoffs, because that's what's going to get them the biggest, like, ingest of gold for themselves, and also just create space so that they can farm. So if they can get a pickoff with the Tiny and then just play the farm greed game, which they will be doing, Night Stalker is building into that Midas, that's going to be kind of their comeback mechanic this game.
CDEC.Y coming into the mid lane by himself. There should be TP rotations in, but their pickoffs would be the ideal situation for IG. PD takes it, and he's also just going to leap straight out of there, so it's going to be an easy tower going in the way of IG. Although we've got the Brewmaster coming in. He's got no Blink yet, though. Thought Old Chicken would have had it by now, but he hasn't quite got it. So missed kill opportunity onto IG heroes, but for IG to grab a tower and to get out free, it's a small reward that pays off.
Yeah, that's like a ideal scenario for IG. They get the tower, they get out, and they also have EHOME rotate like 3 to 4 heroes towards that mid lane, so they get the knowledge that EHOME use their TPs, and it just frees up space elsewhere. That's where IG say, okay, let's send these 2 heroes to the off lane because it's safe to farm there for now. And suddenly, Tiny actually has a completed Blink Dagger at the same time as Brewmaster. So, all in all, for IG, this game is still manageable for them. They're still in a bit of trouble just because of how farmed the Gyrocopter is, but IG has proven they're a team who plays very well when on the back foot.
Absolutely. They're doing very well. I'm very impressed with the way that IG is playing. EHOME, in the meantime, they've come back up into the top lane. They've got a lot of heroes here, and they want to make a push happen. Double damage Slark, though. This guy's going to get ballsy. He wants to kill CDEC.Y. That's such an easy... That was a kill that shouldn't happen if they're EHOME, and that's just because they're not all together. Now 11's going to be taken down. Undying's here, and can't really do anything to help his allies. Now they have to retreat. Brewmaster's got Blink, though. If Old Chicken comes in, he could potentially give his life away. Oh, can they get PD? No, he leaps away. He's got nothing left. They get the Slark kill at least. They will lose Lanham in the backside. Cyclone onto the poor AA. He'll be lifted up. Gonna be slowly burning. But here comes allies. If Old Chicken keeps going after this is gonna be a potential overextension. Now he's here by himself, and now he's gonna be overwhelmed by 4 heroes. This is not the game.
A team wipe, and Jakiro suddenly is like, let's not make this team wipe even more. We just gave away 5 kills. And that was like EHOME, they get caught out. They lose Gyrocopter. It's very much like, oh crap, our Gyrocopter's in trouble. Let's everyone rotate in. But it was not a fight they wanted to take. It was very much leave the Gyrocopter and just get out. That was just how that fight needed to be played out. Unfortunately, EHOME just ran in one by one, kind of fed kill after kill after kill, and the Tiny Blink Dagger coming at the ideal time for them, not to mention QD on the Slark having a double damage rune. They killed the Gyrocopter fast enough that it just allowed them to take the fight that followed, because Gyrocopter just didn't dish out enough damage despite getting the cooldown off, and suddenly this game looking a whole lot more even. It's actually even as far as the net worth goes, so a huge turnaround in IG's favor.
Yeah, I think it was just EHOME not respecting IG, thinking that they were much further ahead than they actually were, and maybe getting a little bit complacent and not moving into that top lane as a 5-man unit, because together, EHOME is a really, really strong draft. They fight amazingly well together, but because they were sort of going in as 2s, as 3s, if they're not together and IG comes in as a full-man unit, there's no way that EHOME's going to be able to come out on top of that, because even though there's 3 Vitality heroes up there, if it's not the Tiny Wisp, they're going to relocate in anyway. So, unfortunately for EHOME, not even going to get a kill with the smoke gank. They need to put some wards down.
Yeah, IG are reading the game really well. They get the 1 ward deep in the jungle, but perhaps suspecting EHOME to go aggressive, IG head to the bottom side of the map. If EHOME go for a kind of smoke gank, you kind of know it's going to be into your jungle looking for kills. And speaking of kills, Nightstalker's found Jakiro. Relocate in with the Tiny. They don't get the kill though. The heals is too much until finally Tiny finishes off the kill. Io the target here 5 seconds before he gets out of this one. Gets a little bit of an urn heal and he will be out of there. IG get a pick off, get out. And again, they have full knowledge of where EHOME are. EHOME are grouped up as 4 on the map, and Io Tiny being back bottom works out fantastic because they can now split push and pressure another lane.
I'm not too sure if this was calculated by Vitality, but just as Wisp relocated, that was when the Brewmaster ultimate came off cooldown. So this is one of the disadvantages of running a Brew. They also get CDEC.Y. They're so close, they can't chase him down.
Oh, the miss!
Tiny's not fast enough!
Oh no. That attack miss, that Drunken Haze, saving the day. And Tiny will get the blink out. Oh, will he? And he cancel on this. Ice Path will not be there in time. Oh.
That could have gone worse.
That 45%. Tiny's just like, if they get the Gyrocopter kill there, that is just a massive swing IG's way.
Absolutely. Oh, so unfortunate. So EHOME having a very big victory, actually, not losing CDEC.Y and grabbing a small Wisp kill. They also popped the Brewmaster split, so that's going to be on cooldown for the next 100 seconds, and that means that EHOME aren't going to feel too comfortable fighting into IG anymore, and this is what IG wants. If they know the split's off cooldown, they're going to feel comfortable just sort of farming away, getting their next set of items. They've got a Midas on the Nightstalker, and he's making good progression on that Aghanim Scepter, I presume, unless he's gone for BKB first.
Dude, Nightstalker's the second most farmed here in the game. I'm 99% sure, go Ag Scepter. He is top 2, okay, now top 3 net worth. He did this last game where he was level like 2, 8 minutes in the game, and then just farmed up Iron Talon Midas, and then ends up getting ridiculously farmed. It doesn't matter how crushed he gets in lane, he somehow just finds a way back in through this item build. The Iron Talon to allow him to jungle, the Midas for the obvious reasons, the levels and the farm it provides, and yeah, it's actually crazy how this guy plays the Nightstalker. It's completely unconventional, but it's working.
It's just him. He knows what to do. He knows what to do with this Nightstalker. EHOME are going to make a push down middle.
They're hoping to end this game fast at this stage. With how bad those last few fights are going, they're probably thinking let's just try and push and win. We've got Primal Split in 30 seconds, which is soon enough. Let's take the tier 2 towers. I don't see them going high ground. They want to have the Gyro BKB in probably in ages. I say that I don't see them going high ground. They may just do it because they feel confident enough that they can actually break it. So we'll see what IG Vitality do to respond to this one.
They've got decent push in the Jakiro though. The Liquid Fire does actually chop into the tower quite nicely. Yep. But they have to be careful. If they get jumped on by IG, or if EHOME tries to make their own sort of play and don't get the initiations off as well, if it fails on high ground, IG are going to go ham on EHOME, knowing that these spells are on cooldown. For the moment, they're going to split up.
They've kind of seen some of these items. They're looking at IG like, okay, Nightstalker's got a Midas. He's had this Midas for 5, 6, 7 minutes. AA just picked up a Midas. If this game drags out 10, 20 minutes, we might just straight up lose because we're going to lose the economy game, but they need to push and push now. DD Rune on Gyrocopter. That's going to give him a bit more firepower as far as pushing goes, but look what this Slack's doing. Slack's not even trying to start a fight.
He's baiting. Tiny's in the backside. He's ready to go in.
Here we go, Tiny. Who's he going to go for? Probably looking for the Oracle, I want to say. The Gyrocopter there with the Rocket Barrage gets the toss. Doesn't get the kill, though. The relocate back. No kill onto Kaka, though. They hold the tower for now. Ooh, Nightstalker. He's in too deep.
That would have been okay if everyone on IG lived because they
Relocate
forced
back
out.
in.
Oh, actually, relocate back in. I think that's a misplay.
Well, I mean, the Aya was always going to do that. It was more that he brought the Tiny with him, but Tiny survives anyway, so not a big deal. And now the tier 3 tower under siege. I guess they thought they were going to be able to blow up the Oracle with the Tiny combo, but I think he missed the Avalanche because of the Rocket Barrage cancelling his blink. And now QD on the backlines really trying to force this one. IG, they've got to find a way to hold this one. They've got all the late game secured with the minuses, but right now they've got to win the fight. There's going to be Ice Blast flying on through, doesn't actually land. QD, Shadow Amulet trying to keep himself alive. He gets out of the cooldown. He's still alive for the time being, and he will heal up if he gets away from this Raiden Observer Ward. Not healing up for the time being, and the problem is Tiny dead without buyback. EHOME.
And they kill Slark!
Oh,
Chicken sniped the Slark!
That's a big kill.
There's only one buyback left. It's on the Slark, but can they get the redemption kills? They've lost so much. They need to get the redemption, but they're gonna lose the Wisp! And PD's here by himself. He wants CDEC.Y.
Okay, he kills CDEC.Y, but Slark may just die here. Does the Undying go for him? Okay, QD's actually manning up. He's going to get another kill onto the Undying. A worthwhile buyback in the end. Can they okay, finishes off the melee racks. Making sure they get the objectives. Ice Blast comes through, gets ult 11, and IG Vitality get a lot of kills, but lose a melee racks.
This early on as well. 20 minutes in and you lose a racks.
It's still
this
manageable.
This is going to put a lot of pressure. It's manageable, yes.
It's very much EHOME recognizing the state of the game, recognizing that they've got Tombstone, level 4 Liquid Fire, a Gyrocopter with a DD, even pre-Roshan, pre-Aegis, and pre-BKB on Gyrocopter. Most teams would be waiting for... They didn't even have the mech! Like, they had none of their core items. No BKB, no mech, no Aegis. They said, look, we gotta get a Rex now. They have double Midas. We lose late game. And that's got to be some great shot calling coming out from LANM to make the call there to go for that first Rax, because that just frees up EHOME so much to kind of fall back now, finish an item or two, grab an Aegis, and then go for a second melee Rax.
So they will go for Roche now, right? If you're EHOME, because the mid lane's always gonna push.
They may take the tier 2 bottom tower first, and old chicken won't get off that ultimate. That's a nice pick up with the Ice Blast. Question is there a counterplay available? Relocate being used. Okay, that'll be a dead Wisp most likely.
Yeah, I don't know if they want to push without the brew though. They'll get a Wisp kill. Unless he gets lucky with the tether. Ah, never mind.
Like it.
Oh, never mind.
So
it would have been really good if he got out.
They could take this tier 2 tower while Brewmaster's dead perhaps, but they're losing their top tier 2 tower, which is not a really great trade for them.
And what is... Wow. PD manning up.
Oh, Gyro.
BKB.
I think he saw the Ice Blast flying in and just panicked. Luckily for him, the Ice Blast missed. If that hit him with the full damage, he probably was dead to the Slark there. And Slark's actually going to look to turn this one around. Tiny's there, gets the Avatos combo, takes out the Undying before a mech could even come into play. Cooldown will slow down the chase. QD does not have ultimate, but he's feeling confident about this one. False promise on ult 11. Can they kill him off? That sun burning bright. QD just going to back off. Still has a Shadow Amulet available. They forced out a Brewmaster ultimate very far away from the IG side of the map, which is a win in itself. It means there's not going to be a Brewmaster push coming soon. Ult 11 should go down. He does die to the Dark Pact here. Can Tiny go off any more spells? Doesn't look like it. QD, this is aggression. He picks up the Shadow Blade. Oh no, he's going to go down anyways. The Shadow Blade got delivered at almost the perfect time. Night Stalker now on the run. His Ag Scepter complete back at base though. He's going to turn and fight. He wants CDEC.Y. There's the Ice Blast. It's going to walk into it. CDEC.Y gets sniped. Kaka also hit by this one. Another Void could finish him off, but Night Stalker couldn't quite connect with it. The Urn going to get immediately cancelled by the tower. Turns, gets a Void off. Wanting to make sure that the Blink doesn't come into play. Old Chicken, he's being kited. He's being kited bad, but he gets a BKB. Needs a clap, doesn't have it, but the Blink forward will finish off Night Stalker with a couple of right clicks and maybe thinking he can catch up to this IO as well. Not
what happened to these teams?
This suddenly turned into a bloodbath.
Not just it's as if both teams have just decided to Super Saiyan halfway during the game. So we first had EHOME dominating, then we had IG Vitality coming back, and then the game equalized. And then all of a sudden we're seeing so much aggression on the map. Both teams are trying to assert their dominance to say, this is our game, we're gonna win this, we want to have map control.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest players has been the Slark so far. PD on the Slark, he's been making such amazing calls. Like even early game when he only had a Shadow Amulet, you saw him toggling the item, just continuously fogging EHOME, using it to heal himself up. This guy really knows how to play a Slark.
I totally agree. He has kept his team in the game, and he only picked up the Shadow Blade just now. He's not had the Shadow Blade at any point this game in a team fight. Nice Glimmer Cape initiation will catch up Tiny. There's going to be the relocate save. I feel like overall the game plan for IG, though, is if they're playing aggressive, fighting on the EHOME side of the map, it means that even if someone gets picked off, they don't lose a Rax, because it's still early on in the game. Heroes will respawn pretty fast. So when they're fighting behind the tier 2 top tower, even if they trade equally, they're not worried about losing a lane of Rax or anything. So similar story there. They go aggressive at the bottom lane. They're very far away from their own base. So the Wisp dying means perhaps they lose a tier 2 tower here, but it's a lot of time and space. Cutie's farming mid, Tiny Y-Chen is farming top, so all in all, that IO death is very much a trade for IG. It's not necessarily like, oh great, they're getting more out of the exchange than EHOME, but it's not really a loss for them.
Seems that EHOME, they're hoping to get a little bit of map control in the bottom lane. I think at this point they want to try and take Roche before they go for the next high ground. Because you look at IG Vitality, they've got some really big items on their heroes, and it's much more dangerous or more risky to go high ground now. So if they can at least... Are they really going to go
now? They've got the
this?
BKBs. That's the most important thing, having double BKB. And I think they're just so threatened by the fact that IG have such good late game. And they're going to just like try and force a fight here. Old Chicken can BKB out of this one. He's got the Primal Split. Probably wants to throw a few spells before he goes for it. Now the cooldown onto Night Stalker. He's looking like he's in trouble. Does have buyback available. Actually, no, he used it. No, sorry, no, he didn't have the money. I was clicking the wrong hero here. Now the tier 3 tower under siege here. Tiny split pushing top. That's going to force some response for coming out from Undying. As the Ice Blast will clip Old Chicken, not getting too many others. And QD caught out in the backlines, and he has not got buyback. And this is why they want to go now. You get 1 kill on a Slark. When his buyback's still on cooldown, suddenly you're looking at a second lane of Rax.
Unfortunately for EHOME, they're a little bit low. Oh, Wisp actually having to relocate. Oh, that was very close. Not gonna die.
He's dead to Flak.
Oh, Flak. Never mind. Rest in peace, this Wisp. The Wisp has died quite a few times. They will buy back the Wisp, though. Does Tiny go for the defense? He has to make sure he doesn't die. They need to wait for
Ice Blast, I believe, which is up in 2 seconds. There we go. Avalanche. It gets dodged by CDEC.Y. Fast fingers on the BKB.
Oh, no.
Beautiful play coming out from Gyro. He'll get the kill on the Tiny. Force out a buyback. They're just throwing away lives to try and save this melee Rax at this point. I think they know if they lose another melee Rax, this game gets very difficult. They'll take out all 11 on the side with the Ice Blast. Brewmaster Split creating the space that's needed. And it's Kaka, the Oracle, saying, okay, I'll make sure we get this Rax. Kaka will pay for it with his life. Old Chicken will BKB TP the hell out of there. And CDEC.Y back to safety as well. 2 melee Raxes, 26 minutes in. The game gets more and more difficult for IG as buildings continue to drop.
EHOME have really stepped up their game all of a sudden. And this is amazing the way that they've been playing. They're just making such beautiful calculated plays, knowing who they're supposed to be focusing. Whereas for IG... you mentioned this before. They're throwing bodies to defend their Rax.
Yeah,
I feel like they need to be a little bit more patient with this.
Once you lose that first Rax, it just gets so hard to play. It puts you kind of under a lot more pressure, and they didn't have buybacks on key heroes. Slark was short 20-30 seconds, and they just weren't ready to kind of make... I like what Y-Chen did there. He was going for the split push up top and force the Undying to TP back. So you force the Undying to TP back, and then you turn it into a 5v4 fight at your base. But Slark just playing a tiny bit too much on the aggressive side. He needs to. Like, that's their only real option, is Slark running in, getting in their face. And Slark is somewhat invincible when he's got the ultimate form up. They haven't got the lockdown to chain stun him, but once that ulti's on cooldown, that's when EHOME did manage to kill him off.
So it looks like down bottom, the Dastardly Duo having to TP out.
If they get a catch now, Tiny has no buyback. He used it in the last fight, and I think that's what EHOME know, and we're trying to punish there.
Yeah, they will have Roche under lockdown though. So are they going to go for Roche this time? I think they are. Yeah,
Night Stalker, by the way, still top net worth on the Dire side. That is not what you want to see if you're IG Vitality. As happy as you are for the Night Stalker, you're wishing the Slark and Tiny just had a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the Night Stalker doesn't bring as much to the table compared to a Tiny and a Slark. He just doesn't scale as much. He's purely utility. A lot of the items he has, it's either utility based or farming based. It's not anything like a Hex or an Orchid where it gives you extra control.
Here come IG. They see this. They've got the Ag Scepter. EHOME will spot out the Night Stalker. Now they realize they've been scouted out. Question is, what happens next? CDEC.Y again gets the BKB off. The relocate save is nice, but another avalanche toss coming out from CDEC.Y God. Off to the side, though, it's Old Chicken forced to use a Primal Split defensively against the Slark, and Slark wanting to hold on to his ultimate for now. It looks like he'll back off over in the Roshan pit. The fight's still going down. Avalanche comes out once more, not really amounting to too much. Slark does end up dying. The Brewmaster split with the Ice Path, proving to be too much for him to handle. Both dead heroes do a buyback here, and IG will use them to try and contest this Roche. Both get used immediately, but no towers to TP to means they may lose Roche before this. Avatos will find the Brewmaster. Tether in. They want Roche. The Ice Blast is there on 2. Ice Blast is there. It's going to be Roshan picked up by Tiny. Ice Blast catches CDEC.Y. He's been false promised up, but no heals for you. Not with the Ice Blast on you. Ice Path awaits the respawn of Y-Chen. Who's going down next? CDEC.Y locked in place. He dies during the false promise. The Ice Blast proving to negate the healing and be too much for them. Lan-M on the Undying, TP's out. Oracle not going to be so lucky.
That was a very costly Roche steal, though. Very costly. That was both the Night Stalker and the Slark buyback for that. You get a lot of EHOME kills, that's great. You deny the Aegis, that's great. You already lost the Aegis. So you technically equalize the game, but you're still not going to be getting objectives off of it.
Yeah. They kind of they got forced into it because if Gyrocopter gets an Aegis, they're just going to lose. Like, EHOME with an Aegis probably end the game, or at least get a third melee Rax. Problem for IG is still very much what you're talking about. Like, their late game is going to suffer because they have not got farm on their carries when they keep buying back as they're just doing. Tiny using buyback, Slark using his second. He's bought back twice this game already, and we're just 30 minutes in.
God, this game is so unforgiving for IG. And it's just because EHOME crippled them so early with the Raxes. PD looking for a kill in the top lane onto Lan-M. There is backup though, and the Brewer's here. Oh, PD's gonna go in. Ice Blast connects. They should get the kill onto Lan-M though, and PD gonna try and man fight, but they're gonna relocate them in. BKB popped on Old Chicken. They can't kill anyone though, so it's gonna be a wasted BKB for Brewmaster. And IG get out with a kill on Lan-M. Everyone came for EHOME, but they don't get any counter kills. So.
Right.
Small victory, but they can't get too much off of that kill.
And that was kind of, when they had the really bad start, that was how they got back into the game, was just finding pick-off after pick-off. And they need to go back to that game plan. They kind of got a bit overconfident because things started going well. And I think EHOME also figured out the game plan that they need to be grouping up and going for the pushes, not giving IG opportunities to find those pick-offs. And EHOME just kind of forgetting, like, this is what happens when you solo to push out a lane as a hero like an Undying, or even the Gyrocopter we saw getting picked off, the Ice Blast from afar, the IO Tiny relocate. There's such good global presence from 3 of the heroes, IO Tiny and AA, that all you need is a Slark running around the map fishing for kills with the Shadow Blade, and you can kill almost anyone in the game.
CDEC.Y has just picked up an Eye of Skadi. He is so tanky. And unfortunately for IG,
yeah, he's got a talisman.
They don't have the best burst.
If they can catch him, 2 fights in a row he's dodged an Avalanche with BKB. That's been the most impressive thing for CDEC.Y. And I think the Avalanche dodge at the bottom Rax actually secured the Rax for him. If he didn't dodge that Avalanche and died, that could have just been the end of that push. Similarly, the one of the Roshan fight, that could have won IG that Roshan fight more handily. So some of CDEC.Y's BKB usages this game have been phenomenal.
It's going to be shorter duration though, so unfortunately for Gyro, not going to be able to rely 100% on the BKB. We had a smoke up by EHOME. They're looking to punish, but is anyone going to stay? Night Stalker will be the first ones to spot them out, so smoke versus Night Stalker, not ideal if you're going to spot the Night Stalker first. Old Chicken, I think they just saw the Tiny. Oh, they just saw him when he went down the hill.
He's going aggressive with his BKB, and he has a Primal Split to fall back on. The toss backwards, IG saying, let's get the hell out. But a great Ice Path. Old 11, he'll cancel the relocate out as well. Oh no, what a disaster. He tethered into the Ice Path, and as a result, there's no save coming out from IO. They're going to lose the Night Stalker, possibly, definitely IO as well. And this is where...
And is this the go call for
They've got a tier 2 tower, so they'll have to make their way through the top lane and get the tier 2 tower. By the time they get to the base, IG will have 5 heroes, but Yes, it is go time. Even though it's going to take them some time, it definitely does feel like go time. And in fact, they're looking for pickoffs using a smoke play here. 2.5 minutes with no Slark buyback. He cannot afford to die.
Depends who sees him first, though. Oh, this could get hairy very soon.
He's still here farming. Oh, he gets out of it, but he can't Dark Pack TP. The Ice Path is there to cancel it, Cutie. You've got to know better than that one. And he's dead. He's done for. 85 seconds on the sidelines. There is a long way to push, but they'll get at least a tier 2 tower, probably more out of this. Oh, Slark. I mean, he's under a lot of pressure to get a lot done this game, and unfortunately gets caught out there.
He had the most convenient time to Dark Pack, because it was actually, I think it was Dark Packing the creeps.
Yeah, it looked like it.
It looked like it, so it was a convenient Dark Pack, but the play afterwards, it wasn't there. I think he panicked.
It was 100% panic. If he maybe slowed, I mean, obviously, if time slowed down, they could think about it. He could have pounced downwards into the river, which would have been a much better. I mean, he would have just instantly been fine if he pounced south into the river. And similarly, when he popped the ultimate, he needed to wait for the ice path to be used. So if the Yule setup was into an ice path, I don't think he actually dies there because they don't have anything to stun him during the ultimate plus TP, the Shadow Dance TP, if the ice path has been used.
Oh, I'm really surprised with how iG's playing this. But they're gonna get 11. Oh, they're actually gonna keep him alive with
He's definitely dead with the ice path. He is very dead as soon as that wears off, but they are charging forward with a dead Tiny and Slark. This tier 3 tower looking to be in a bad spot here. Slark respawning soon and Tiny forced to buyback. Again, IG only holding through buybacks.
They didn't do that much damage to the tower though. So IG forced to buyback, relocating in though. They want to cut them off. They can kill Kaka, but no, they want the gyro instead. Can they kill CDEC.Y? They've got him on lockdown. This should be the end of the gyro, and Kaka just sort of walks away thinking, okay, it's fine. We'll lose you. It's okay as long as I'm alive. It's 100% okay.
It's okay
it's still
for
buybacks.
Yeah, it's buybacks, and I don't know if it was during that push. At some point, they lost the mid-range racks as well. Creep waves have just taken out the range racks, so that's gold, and that's just one step closer to mega creeps for EHOME. They also got the tier 3 tower down to half HP, so like a gyro death for a tiny buyback and some range racks. EHOME, all in all, big picture wise, are still looking very good this game. They don't want it to drag to the ultra late game. Like if Tiny completes another item or two, then you start to worry if you're EHOME. But for now, things going pretty well for them.
Yeah, and look at the way IG's moving together. They're so scared of being separated, and they're also wanting to play aggressive. But you look at EHOME, they're playing so carefully now. They're just staying together, and they're hoping to not get caught out. Are they looking for a smoke? Because they're all just sitting in their own base.
Well, they have vision up at the top lane, and they see no one pushing it out or in the jungle, so they know IG are grouped up as 5. And IG going to be the aggressors for once, but I don't.
Is
think
this
they
a
go much
desperation
further.
play?
Nah, there's no. If anything, it's like a very questionable play to go for like a 5-man push when you've lost 2 lanes of Raxes. You're better off trying to use the high ground defense to your advantage. If you want to go for a desperation play, it's around the Roshan respawn. If EHOME go for Rosh, you'd say, okay, if they get Aegis Cheese, we lose, let's contest Rosh. But pushing into EHOME's high ground is just like giving them another advantage. Not only are they up in farm, not only do they have 2 lanes of Raxes, but we're going to give them the high ground advantage as well. That's not something IG want to do.
Yeah. I find one thing peculiar that IG Vitality is doing with the Tiny Wisp is they're not going for any trades. Obviously, the top trade wouldn't have been ideal, but I thought that they would have at least done a little bit of damage to the bottom T3 tower so that they could eventually chip away at it later. It's been mostly this fighting Tiny Wisp that we've been saying. It's not really been that split push.
It's been quite hard for them just because they're worried about the Jakiro with the Yule's Ice Path catch especially, but for now, they have got Tiny in good position to pressure this bottom lane. We'll see what EHOME's response is going to be. It looked like EHOME grouping up at top did want to go for that last lane of Rax, but they'll be forced to come back and defend. Tiny in the front lines. Not going to get caught. Oh, Blink from old 11, looking for that catch. That extra long Ice Path. Aether Lens Jakiro.
The range on it, it's ridiculous with Aether Lens.
And even the Yule's catch range as well getting increased is really nice and important.
I think this is one of the best items to pick up on Jakiro. It's, I could say, a indirect buff to the hero. Because
Yeah.
I think previous to this, Jakiro suffered a lot because not only does he have a ridiculous cast animation, but I don't feel like he was able to sit far back enough to cast his spells. Like half the time, he'll just be sort of caught in the middle of the fights, and he wouldn't really be able to do that much. With this extra range, it helps him so much. It's like a pseudo Earthshaker with the Jakiro.
It's definitely really nice for the hero. So we'll see. If catching out the Tiny, I think is going to get harder. The IO's learnt his lesson as far as using the relocate to save people around the ice path. That he has to wait and dodge the ice path. If he tethers into it while relocating, it will cancel the relocate. So I don't imagine we see that play again. Maybe Jakiro will just manage to pull off a sick ice path and still manage to do it. But fool me once, you're not going to fool him again. It's probably that would be my prediction. But we'll have to wait and see. Right now, EHOME happy to slow down the pace of this game, thinking that Roshan is maybe going to be an objective they want to go for. But IG are in the neighborhood.
They're looking for a wraparound too.
They found one. They found Jakiro. That's going to start the fight off. Old Chicken then blinks in with a BKB. He's got the primal split on the backlines. It's CDEC.Y trying to fight into QD. Kaka, he's the target of this with the false promise, and he gets blown up. The ice path, making sure of that one. QD looking to bring down the tombstone. He's going to be forced into the Shadow Dance, gets slowed down with the clap. Everyone on IG fairly low, but if they can heal up a little bit more, the Brewmaster Primal Split still available though. They've got to be very careful at this one. And there's the Yules. Ice path. Macropie, he misses it! Oh! He was too slow on the ice path, or possibly he was still on cooldown. I'm not entirely sure on that one. Didn't have him selected, but that would have been possibly a game-winning pickoff. He does have buyback, but even forcing buybacks again at this stage is just such a big win.
That was so lucky for Slark. Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. If he died there, it would have been game-winning. But looks like Saint Roche can be taken down here by EHOME. No, they don't want to commit.
They see the AA buyback. The AA is very important in these fights. He has to land the Ice Blast. He needs to be hitting this on heroes because it completely counters the Oracle False Promise, and also just counters stuff like the Life Steal coming up from Gyro.
Can he steal that Aegis?
He needs to drop something. He drops the drums. Gyrocopter gets it. He gets the roast last hit, but he immediately dies, and that's Slark dead for 80. Oh dear.
That's not... I think that's it.
It could
that
well
might
be.
have just been it.
Slark and Tiny both still dead. Even just looking at the T4 towers, they're just pinging the throne. They say, okay, Slark's dead. He's got no... Oh, he's got no money for buyback. I don't know if they quite realize that. Oh, and they're going to wait. Yeah, they'll wait out the IO to return.
So it's going to be 3 heroes to defend. Tiny, AA, and Night Stalker up against the full EHOME lineup. Even Wisp buys back. So we've got the 4 Musketeers. Can they defend EHOME?
I think they're just going to right-click the throne. And
this should be it.
They've got to somehow initially go on the backlines, the squishy heroes like Jakiro as well as the Oracle. They're looking for Jakiro. The Ice Blast will land, which means Old 11 will be going down. Now they've got to find a new target. They're looking for the Tombstone. It's being healed back up. The Soul Rip will turn things around and IG lose 3. This is going to be game over. CDEC.Y could just focus the throne, but he's going for the style points. It's CDEC.Y, of course. Finds 1 in the fountain, looking for 2. Tiny tosses him out, says, get out of my base. And that's going to be game over. Triple kill for CDEC.Y. Game 1.
This
goes EHOME's way.
The game looks so shaky for EHOME during the early game. Those first couple of slip-ups, I had a feeling that IG was going to equalize the game all of a sudden, but just off of some really amazing calls from EHOME, able to not just get ahead, but also go way beyond my expectations for their draft. They played superbly as a team. They sort of knew what they were looking for. They consistently went for the right plays. IG had a couple of clutch comebacks, but it just wasn't enough to bring them back into the game. They needed much more going their way.
I definitely, again, showing a lot of promise, this kind of new upcoming team. They've been around for a little while, known as DK, but I'm really impressed by the Night Stalker. This is the second game in a row where he's gone for this super greedy build and just managed to have a terrible lane, but have such a high impact in the game, as well as get a huge amount of farm. Unfortunately for IG, it was just a little bit too greedy, and by far the most impressive thing about EHOME was just that first melee racks in the mid lane. They recognized that they didn't have any of their key items, they didn't have Aegis, but they needed to push now. They had to go and push before IG got to the late game, and they said, look, we're going to do it, we don't even have a mech, let's just break the base, do it with Jakiro Undying, and they managed to take that lane of Rex. So very impressive stuff coming out from EHOME. They take game number 1, guys. It is a best of 3 though, so we're getting into the best of 3 series once again after some best of 1s, and we'll see if EHOME can take it 2-0, if IG Vitality will continue the comebacks and force a game number 3. Don't go anywhere. I'm GoDz. Joining me is Danelie. We're going to take a quick break and come back with game number 3.